As a therapist, as a coach, as an educator, almost all of the problems that have been brought before me by individuals, by groups, even by companies and other organizations have fallen into one of six areas. The reason why it's important to understand the areas where individuals and groups experience problems is because part of our job as an effective coach is to be an effective assessor of strategic information. And so, as I look back over my many years of working with many different individuals, I've really tried to figure out, are there some common denominators between the problems that individuals have? And I've come to the conclusion that almost every problem I've worked with falls into one of these six areas. And the first is an incongruence in my client between them and their core values. They're experiencing distress, they're experiencing dissatisfaction, they're experiencing a lack of resolution because when our core values are not in alignment with the actions and the activities and the behavioral patterns that I'm engaging in that are important to me, that incongruence will always cause discomfort and pain. The second area is that my clients tend to fail to maximize the present moment. One of my favorite quotes of all time comes from the profound great Master Oogway. And some of you who are viewing might even have a smile on your face as you realize who the great Master Oogway is. The great Master Oogway was, of course, the turtle in Kung Fu Panda. And in the movie Kung Fu Panda, as the great Master Oogway is training Jack Black, the panda, to be a Kung Fu master, he says this. He says, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery. All we have is the present, and that's why it's a gift. This really is the ultimate expression of the art of mindfulness. And no matter what is going on in our world, at the present moment, as long as I'm breathing, even if the world around me is stressful, in the present moment, as long as I'm breathing, ultimately, everything is okay. And if everything is okay, then this is my starting point. In fact, this is really the only point that I actually have. And the clients who I work with are either stuck in the past, stuck with regret, stuck with feelings about the past not being what it should have been or could have been or what they hoped it was, or my clients are projecting out into the future their anxiety and their fear and their speculation about what might be. And in doing so, they miss the moment. Let me give you an example of what mindful living really is all about. It's about being in the present moment. Have you ever been on a vacation where you've seen a beautiful sunset and you see that beautiful sunset and you're just amazed at how awesome it is, and so you value it, you remember it, you find it to be important. Then later on in life, you're somewhere else, maybe even driving your car home from work, and you see a beautiful sunset in front of you. And when you see that beautiful sunset in front of you, it reminds you of that time when you saw a beautiful sunset before. And so what you do is you mindlessly stop enjoying the sunset before you, but instead start recalling or remembering the previous sunset. That's all about mindless living, missing the sunset that's before you, the present moment, by failing to maximize its full potential. The third area where I see problems is that people actually believe what they think. In AA, the 12-step programs, it's called, of course, stinking thinking. In the world of therapy, we call this cognitive behavioral therapy. One of the reasons why therapists make excellent life coaches is they already understand a core concept in problem solving, and that is that we should not necessarily believe our thoughts. Thoughts are not the same thing as fact. Thoughts are merely representations of the limited awareness or content that I have at this present moment, and really nothing more than that. One of the main sources of trouble for people is that they believe what they think. And effective coaches help people to recognize that following a thought is not necessarily a healthy idea at all. The fourth area where people have significant difficulty and problem is that they fail to neglect their physical health. I have to admit, I haven't always been an athlete. In fact, I certainly wouldn't call myself an athlete now. But I became certified as a personal fitness trainer because I recognized that my clients in therapy could only function emotionally as well as they are physically. And for me to expect them to overcome their depression when they had no physical activity was an unrealistic expectation. And one of the things that I love about coaching is that it doesn't have us sitting on the couch talking about taking action, but coaching literally may be a process of actually standing next to the client as they walk on a treadmill. It's important to recognize that a very significant component of our coaching can be directly related to helping people meet their neglected physical needs. As a coach, no matter what type of coaching I'm doing, relationship coaching, executive coaching, individual coaching, I almost always have to teach my clients how to sleep. I've actually learned in my own life that the quality of my work and the quality of my emotions and the quality of my relationships and the quality of my life is really in direct proportion to how well I slept the night before. And so if I'm having a bad day, I can almost guarantee it's because I didn't sleep the day before. And by the way, I'm pretty good at sleeping. I mentioned I'm a clinical hypnotist, and hypnos is the Greek word for sleep. So I'm pretty good at this. But my clients, nobody's actually ever taught them how to self-soothe and put themselves to sleep. And sleep is where we recharge our dopamine levels. Sleep is where our bodies experience the rest it needs so that we can drive the energy from within the next day without having monstrous, giant, unhealthy drinks filled with sugar and other toxins. The fifth area where I see problems among my clients, again, whether they're individuals, organizations, or couples, is in interpersonal conflict, the inability to communicate effectively with others. One of the first books I wrote was in 1995, and I wrote a book called The Getting Along Workbook. And it was a workbook that taught people, in fact, there was one chapter in there titled Just Plain Mean Communication, and another chapter in there titled Just Plain Nice Communication. And it was the difference between aggressive and passive aggressive communication. And I began to teach clients the basic skills of assertiveness, and I was amazed when I taught people what they didn't know, assertive communication, they were able to negotiate conflict more effectively. Now, in addition to assertiveness training, there are many other ways that we can help people to negotiate the interpersonal conflicts around them. And one of the things we have to realize that is in the context of the work that we do, we often do not have control over the ways that others choose to communicate that may affect the context of my situations at the current time. But a coach understands and learns conflict management skills at an interpersonal level and at an organizational level so that people can experience empowerment and success in their important relationships. All of us need important relationships, and those are managed through effective conflict resolution skills with others. And the sixth area where I see problems coming from is because my clients lack a set of core skills for problem solving. And I view myself many times as a teacher. You see, in therapy, we often begin a therapy session like this. So what would you like to work on this week? In coaching, the first question is not, what would you like to work on this week? In fact, in coaching, the first question is actually for me. What does the client who's sitting in front of me not know that they need to know in order to choose to do something different? And I view it as my job to be a teacher as much as anything else in that role of coaching. Understanding that almost every problem we're going to encounter, whether it's a group problem, whether it's an individual problem, or whether it's a problem within a couple's relationship, is going to come down to one of these six things. And coaching is about teaching you the strategies for effectively finding resolution within each one of those areas.